Hello, and today I'm going to go over this problem that's checking whether a number is the sum of powers of 3. So given an integer n, return true if it is possible to represent n as a sum of distinct powers of 3. Otherwise, return false. An integer y is a power of 3 if there is this integer x such that y equals to 3 to the x power. So input, if n is 12, you return true because 12 is equal to 3 to the 1s plus 3 to the second. Okay, so for this problem, so the input is integer n and the output is a Boolean whether it can be whether n can be represented by a sum of powers of 3. So for this problem, actually, it is pretty similar to the problem that turn a decimal number to binary number. So every time you turn into binary number, you could see like it is a combination of power of 2 if you turn it to the binary representation. So here you just need to turn it to the base 3 representation. And since it says it's a distinct powers of 3, which means you cannot have a replicate, for example, so the constraint is distinct powers of 3. So for example, 2 is equal to 1 plus 1, and 1 is equal to 3 to the 0. But 2 is not but if you input 2, it should output false because it's not distinct. It is a duplicate of 1 here. So that means for every digit in the base 3 representation, you can either be 0 or 1. You cannot be 2. So a while loop is needed. Let's go to the plan. It's pretty straightforward if you're familiar with how to turn decimal to binary. So while n is greater than 0, so the first thing I'm going to check the remainder. So every time check the remainder. So check n mod 3. So if n mod 3 is equal to, I'm going to return false. That is the case of example here. So else, so if it is equal to 2, I'm going to return false, and then else I will do a division, integer division, and then so after that, after the while loop, n is equal to 0. So if it doesn't return false, I'm going to return true because that's the case after you do the because at the end n is equal to 1, and 1 divided by 3, you will get a 0 and break the while loop. And yeah, so it is easy to implement this. super easy. So while n is greater than 0, so if n divided mod 3 is equal to 2, I'm going to return false. And n is equal to n divided by 3. So define the check powers of 3 and return 2. And that will works, and it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward, this result. So this solution, and as you can see, the time complexity will be log n, because I use a while loop, and every time I use integer division by 3. So actually it should be a log 3, and time complexity and space complexity will be all of 1. I don't use any extra space. So yeah, that's it.